Okay, I'm here to talk about Serial Season 3, Episode 6, revolving Joshua and his juvenile, kind of court / juvenile system process. I think the only thing that I took away from this case is how it just crescendoed into a lot of just unthinkable things that happened to not only him, but other kids who may have testified against this gang group, I guess. So I guess the first thing I can say is that when they were interrogating Joshua, he asked multiple times for his mom or an adult, and they just didn't listen to him. They just kind of brushed it off and didn't listen to him, and this led to him agreeing to a sentence, kind of like holding this SYO over his head. So he felt very intimidated to accept kind of the lesser sentence. And then kind of when they put him on the stand multiple times, knowing that was not safe for kids like him who had been kind of affiliated with the gang, and putting him on the stand to testify against them, knowing that when he went to the juvenile detention center, that he would be sought after by these group members. I also think that the ODYS detention system is so corrupt, and there is so much that could be done, but it's getting so overlooked for some reason. And what that reason is beyond me, but it is so frustrating. That in 2007, this investigation that they did with findings of child abuse, with like vengeful staff, like kid-on-kid violence, and excessive force, and the idea that these kids didn't have any avenue to ask for help, is exactly what they fell back into. And we hear that later on when we continue listening to how Joshua is being treated. It's insane to me that Josh, it wasn't safe in the minimal security system, and it kind of seemed like he was more safe in the max juvenile system, especially because in this minimal security prison they had access to phones and very, very corrupt corrections officers, and we just hear this sloosh of assaults that he was soon subjected to after getting there, and even the ones orchestrated by these correction officers, and Joshua still wasn't being helped. Was very frustrating here. Then we hear that staff was telling kind of these heartless felon like godfathers about Josh's circumstance and Josh's kind of situation, and then that kind of leading to more assaults on his end, I think was crazy. I also thought that it was crazy to hear that $7,000 to $10,000 are like circulating Cuyahoga Hills, and that staff was being kind of like paid hush money to like bring contraband in for these kids. It definitely seemed like these kids run this juvenile center, Like I said, for God only knows the reason why. But I think that it is very sad that even at the end, we hear that these SYOs were just like held over these kids' head even more seriously. And then Josh telling Sarah that he had a court date concerning his kind of like attitude at the prison. They said that he was just too much to deal with, and so hopefully that didn't go anywhere. But yeah, this case was just very sad, and there were a lot of key takeaways that I saw relevant and definitely in need of some reevaluation.